Welcome back, everybody. SJJMAS number 26 with the one and only. I should probably say Ricardo Williams. That's my fault. In
No, it's all good. It's all good. We had been talking about doing this, and
yeah,
sadly, I was like dragging my feet, and then I saw Duvid was on the calendar, and I didn't want to upstage Duvid by coming afterwards, so I figured I would be like a warm up act for him.
oh my god, bro.
The real star, the real star.
Yeah, well, this is like the Luke Ford sphere. A couple of days, really. I've got Luke, followed by Duvid, followed by you, followed by Duvid. It's worked out perfectly.
Yeah. Luke, I saw. I didn't get a chance to watch his appearance. I did watch his coat fest, though. I just. What exactly happened to prompt him to? He's like, well, I've just come to realize, as much as I love SJJ, great friend of the show, like it doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve my interests.
Yeah, I so want to talk to you about this. So you have to go back, and at some point you need to watch. Basically, I think it's like the last hour, certainly the last half an hour. I don't know what happened. The topic of Jews came up, and so God forbid, but it's Luke's wheelhouse. He's literally an Orthodox Jew, talks about Jews in the alt-right. I thought it's his topic. I wanted to get some kind of substance for the audience out of him, rather than it just be, you know what Luke's like.
Yes.
I mean, or you know what Luke's evolved into. He's evolved into this person who fence sits, and he dances around the issues, and he's afraid to tackle them head on. No offense to Luke. I love Luke. We all love Luke. Okay? This is not offense. This is like me shooting from the hip, trying to explain how I see things. And it's like, there's all this dancing around, and it's like there's 50% of this and half a dozen of this, and we can't really figure out any like serious conclusions. And I'm here and I'm thinking, what is the point in any of this analysis? So I'm wanting to like him to like give me some substance. And so I asked him a few uncomfortable questions about like, so why, explain how Jews ended up in the alt-right. And I thought I was softballing him.
Yeah. And he talked himself into a twist or something.
I don't know where it went off the rails, to be honest. I mean, I wasn't going to accuse Jews of being like responsible for immigration. I'm beyond that. I'm past all that. Yeah. Past all that. Don't care. Yeah. Okay, that's like alt-right 1.0. Fuck that shit. Yeah. So I think maybe the question where it went off the rails was, I wanted to know, well, if Jews are so smart, well, why haven't they realised then that like the demographic collapse is happening and decided to do something about it? And he's like, I don't know, define Jew or something. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was.
No, I know. It's like he forgot everything that happened. Like it's like,
yes.
Who is that Luke Ford? He's been replaced like Joe Biden. He's a body double. But it's interesting because what I was thinking about was that when I remember being on Luke Ford's show and the things we would talk about, and I remember saying, like, we're posing the question, would you be willing to trade immigration restriction in the United States? Like, would you be willing to make a coalition with Netanyahu to, like, give them Israel if we could have America, let's say, or, like, if England could have borders as long as Israel does? Like, I'm fine with, I felt like, could I, or maybe I felt I could be okay with, like, listen, like, let's just end the hypocrisy. Like, the liberal internationalist wing can support open, it makes sense that George Soros supports borders on both ends. Mm-hmm. But when Ben Shapiro is basically destroying my country while promoting his own, like, that's a problem. And then October 7th happens, and it's like, suddenly that Zio border control coalition like has emerged, and I'm sitting there looking at it like, I don't really like this. This makes me uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like racism is kosher now.
Yes, it is in a weird way, isn't it? but only in one direction, of course.
Well, of course, and something that Melky talked used to talk about was like the choices between like Christianity and racism. Like,
Mm.
are you like because it's like in some ways like I just always felt like I'm anti-white. Like, don't come into my country and disrespect
Yes,
us. Don't come
exactly.
into my country and act like I'm the problem. Like,
Mm.
you came to my house. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I resent that. And it's like, I don't want you here if this is how you're going to act. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to you in principle just because,
Mm.
like, strictly on, racial bounds on an individual basis, at least. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it does seem to play out that, like, yes, if you bring in foreigners in large numbers, you're going to end up with them doing these things. They're not going. They have shown themselves not to be the best house guests. Okay, so,
Mm.
but like, it is like it is awfully Jewish to be like so focused on ethnicity and be an ethnic determinist.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think about Luke's latest? Well, I don't know if it's his latest thing. He loves to say, "Look, when you bring up like the demographic crisis that's happening, look, we're on course. Everybody agrees we're on course to end up a minority in our own countries. This is the crisis of the West that the whole dissident right is there for. It's what the whole alt-right was there for. Yes, there's all these other issues, but basically we're all people who have realised we're going to be minorities in our own countries unless something changes." Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
right. So what about when you put that to Luke, he says it's not necessarily true because if I fill out the census and I put that I'm 1/16 Chinese, they put me down as Chinese. Therefore, we can't trust the census. I'm like, oh,
I know. I mean, it's interesting because I will say this, like, on a personal basis,
yeah,
I put, like, if given the choice, I go, like, don't answer. Be like, don't know /
yeah,
don't respond. Because I find the question, I just hate the whole like, the measuring of the races is kind of like a problem. If there was no racial data, how could they prove disparate impact? So,
yeah,
but, like, I'm not a normal person, right? So, to think, like, that's driving a huge shift away from white. But the other thing that does happen is, like, if you have, I mean, another thing, like, I have a Puerto Rican grandmother who's, like, first of all, is like 80% Iberian herself, right? So, but I get to put Hispanic when I apply for college.
yes,
And, like, yeah, I did that. Okay.
yep,
Would anyone think I'm Hispanic? I speak like at a Spanish 101 level of Spanish. Okay. It is kind of a joke, but if this is the game, if I could say, dude, if I had like a black great grandmother, I would say I'm black.
yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't blame you. But what about, like, Luke's basically telling me it's, I don't know, a statistical anomaly. There's no Browning.
No, I know, and he's obfuscating. Listen, there's no question, like, especially in the blue cities, like in the urban centers. I mean, it's gone. I used to say,
yeah,
I mean, it's still true. Like, you go to the mall in my hometown, there's not a straight white male under 30. You know what I mean? Like, if they're white males, well, they're either Jewish or they're gay. You know what I mean? And it's
yes, yes,
and that's the cities now. And but, like, that tells you all you need to know about where things are headed. Like, at least in those areas. Now, where I live now, it's different. But then again, like, I live in like a growing area where people from the blue states are coming. But I mean, dude, Luke changed, man. I mean, it's like he used to like, first of all, he posed like as alt-right. There was definitely the stage where, like, everybody thought he was alt-right. Right, and then he was like, "Oh no, well, I'm super sympathetic, guys." Right, and then he was like, "Well, I don't know. I'm a Jew. You got to understand. Like, I go to synagogue. What do you want me to say?" Right, there was that phase, and now it's like, what do you mean? Like I took
Yes.
I plugged back in and I've forgotten everything that happened outside the Matrix. And it's like, whoa, dude, he like really plugged back in.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, you know for a fact he's going to play this on his show
Yeah,
and dissect it
I know, and he's gonna do
minute
it
by
in like.
minute.
Here's what he's gonna do. He's gonna like let us talk for like 8 seconds and like stop it in mid sentence and criticize like the first. Like he said like before 12 p.m. on Tuesday, and it wasn't. It's like let me finish this sentence. You're not even like letting a thought roll and like address the paragraph. You know what I mean? Can you address the paragraph instead of the sentence?
Yes, in a weird way, that's what I was wanting from. I was like, look, I understand that we have to do this politely. We have to do it like, let's not resort to it. I'm not trying to get you on a show like, I know, Norvin and get you to do racial slurs, Luke, or something. Like, so we have to tiptoe around, but let's get to the meat and potatoes of the argument. And let's talk about the spirit of the law rather than the letter of the law. Basically, this is what I was trying to get from it. But he's like, no, I mean, it felt like obfuscation. And I think what happened was he got, maybe because towards the end I was pointing out that I was feeling frustrated by his obfuscation, and then he went on his show to basically admit that he was worn out by obfuscating, because that's what he said, wasn't it?
Yeah, he did say that. It was weird. It's like
he admitted he was having to basically not tell the truth to remain like friends with his friends, and that was exhausting.
Well, and that's interesting. I mean, I guess I'm wrong in that by doing so, he's essentially saying, "Listen, man, like, what do you want me to say?" Like,
Yeah.
Which is, it's interesting now, man, because I find it really, and really the main subject I kind of wanted to talk to you, because I know you're
Yes.
a Musk maximalist.
Yes.
And this issue around, everybody from 2018, like Frame Games, Mike Benz is like famous now, right? Mike Benz goes on Joe Rogan, okay? And Nathan Kaufness and these characters are, have grown in their, the Kaufness critique and all these questions around Jewish power are mainstream. There's like no doubt. Like in 2015, 2016, it was like there was like Norvin. I mean, there was like Richard Spencer. Like that. There was like, oh right, man. It was tiny. It was like way outside the Overton window, and now it's like sitting right there yes. on the line. It's like October 7th changed everything, and like everything is about Israel, the Israel lobby, and it's not even, the Israel lobby is not hiding itself anymore. Like you see that 60 interview clip from today with the Mossad guy.
No, what's that?
Oh, you got. Let's see if we. Yeah. Let's see. Twitter, Mossad, 60 minutes. Let's see. They control the world, and all the world is a stage. Is like what they said.
They control the world through untraceable shell companies.
Yeah, and he comes on with a mask.
Oh my god, I've got it. Oh, let's show this. What the heck? No, this can't be real, surely.
Dude. it's all the way out in the open, and it's like.
Oh wait, that's not it. That's not it. I might ask you about that later. But this.
It didn't activate for 10 years until 3 months ago. How did you convince?
That's the face of Mossad.
Dude, that guy used to be a co-host on the gas station.
Oh
look,
my God.
It's Patrick Bateman.
Yes. Surely that's not real.
Right. God forbid. Watch this. Yesterday's stall. Jewish. Probably help them cover up. All right, let's see it.
Oh yeah.
Hezbollah to buy this.
Well, obviously, they didn't know that they were buying it from Israel.
Who did they buy it from? Well, I think they were buying it from.
We have an incredible array of possibilities.
Do you think this will be copyrighted? It might get taken down.
I mean,
Well, I paused it. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Foreign companies that have no way being traced back to Israel. Shell companies over shell companies who affect the supply chain to our favor. We create a pretend world. We are a global production company.
I'll pause it again for copyright.
Well, but here, back it up. Like what he's saying right here. Like back it up 2 seconds.
Yeah.
A pretend
This is
world.
the clip.
We are a global production company. We write the screenplay. We're the directors. We're the producers. We're the main actors. The world is our stage.
Okay, so we are a global production company. I mean, so what's going on? Like, so Donald Trump is. I don't even know, man. I don't even know who's on whose team. You know what I mean? Like, and Musk.
Yeah.
You got on Twitter, dude. You can say whatever you want on Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, are they just like letting everybody talk so they can ID everybody? You know what I mean? What's going on?
Wow. Yeah. Look, I 100% agree with you. Look, I was a Musk maximalist because of the cool space stuff, and then I don't know. I didn't really see that he'd get involved in politics by Twitter and replatform. I know everybody, including Norvin. Again, I had no idea that would happen, but it just did happen. On the face of it, they tried to trans his kid, so he revolted. So all this is on the face of it, taking things at face value. They tried to trans his kid. Yes, he's a billionaire. Yes, he's hooked into the Matrix. He's the richest man in the world. Government contracts, everything. But they tried to trans his kid. He realized things were going wrong. He also probably has a god complex because, you imagine that you're born on Earth and you turn out to be the richest man in the world. You're going to be like, is this a computer game? You know, what the fuck, dude? You know, this must be a simulation. I'm like the fucking richest man in the world, the number one. How can this not all be a computer game? So I think he gamifies everything. So I don't know. The next couple of years will definitely really be the deciding factor of how history will see Elon Musk, I think.
Oh, I think it's really interesting because I went on Luke's show around Thanksgiving, and I told him I had listened to this great lecture series on the Roman Empire, and they talked about Augustus Caesar. There was Julius Caesar, and then Augustus was the first emperor, but he wasn't actually the emperor. He was the first citizen, and the dude didn't hold formal power, right? Other than he controlled he controlled the military, but he just sort of wanted things to happen, and they happened. Like the Senate took care of what he wanted to do. You know what I mean? And Elon Musk, this whole situation with the budget bill that's going on in Congress, and the fact that Elon Musk is, the Democrats are labeling it the Musk bill. I don't know if that's just rhetorical. Even if it is just they think that wins with the population about painting him as some sort of George Soros type figure for the left. Okay. But when that perception becomes reality, suddenly everybody's debating about what Elon Musk wants to do. And then people just sort of, because he has the propaganda. I mean, yes, he's given us free speech, but the fact is now Elon Musk has the tools of propaganda. Okay, which is for ill or
yeah.
Okay, it is what it is. Now,
you're fading out a bit. Could you maintain close distance to your mic, dude?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
So what I'm saying
Perfect.
is that he sets the agenda. People believe in him because of the results that he's gotten at his companies.
Yes.
He is invested in physical things. He does factory. He has a full from he does all the parts himself for Tesla. Like he has from natural resources to like production on an armored vehicle. Okay, that
Yes.
doesn't need to run on gas, like that he can like plug into things. Okay.
Yep.
He has a internet. He has like a globe-wide satellite network. He has the greatest ability to launch rockets, aka could do ICBMs. You know, when he becomes like emperor, like the viceroy of Mars, like does he just turn back on Earth and just be like, actually, I've got the whole sky covered, like I'm in charge. You know what I mean? And maybe he doesn't formally have to do it. You know, I don't think anybody's pulling his strings, man. I think he's like a true independent actor. You say he's plugged in. I feel like
He was plugged in.
he was plugged in, and now he's sort of like on the cusp of like grabbing control of the system itself. I think he's like almost like we're almost there. I mean, the UK. You know, it's interesting. Like the UK is just like an open door to money and foreigners. Like it's the future of America that like the left wants. Like, and it's really sad to see, but that also means that Elon Musk could like come in and buy that shit too. And there was even like I saw a headline that people are worried just that like you know the MPs are crying about the threat of like Elon Musk like funding a new party and influencing the UK politics the way he has in America.
Yeah.
And I wonder what you think about that. Like,
So, a few things. I mean, I accept it for the state that we are in, for ill or for good. That, I mean, politics is now about money. I mean, undeniably, in my opinion, Elon Musk bought the election and won it. Basically, he bought Twitter to win the election. This is the other thing. People who say Elon Musk is dumb and stupid or whatever, they don't get it. I mean, sure, obviously now in hindsight, looking back, buying Twitter was to win the US election. So it was a long plan. And he executed it. He spent $40 billion on it, and it worked. And now he's basically bought the US president for for good or for bad.
I know, and I think for the record, I do think he bought him. Like Elon Musk is hanging out at all the meetings. I mean, well, or is he? Is that just like Democrat lies? I mean,
well,
it's like a Soros. Like, just think of it this way: like, we all know George Soros pulled strings, right? But now looking back on it, it feels like George Soros is like a fake compared to like Elon Musk. And is it?
Here's where I guess some nuance matters. In that, I assume that, like, if Trump wanted, he could probably say thank you very much for helping me win the election, and now you're done. You're out of it, and spend 4 years without being involved with Elon Musk. So I do still believe like that the power resides in the executive branch to the extent that it has that. But like the process of winning the election, I absolutely put down to Elon Musk buying Twitter 100%, I think.
Well, there's no question, but like, well, then let me ask you this. Did Elon Musk buying Twitter, because I think October 7th is the true like moment where the elite cultural resistance to Donald Trump like stopped on, not necessarily October 7th, but like the campus protests afterwards. So would that have happened without X buying, or excuse me, without Musk buying X? Because I think the reason, I think it's twofold in that I think X is a big part of, it has helped magnify Musk's power and help him like be part of the coalition that helped win Trump office. But the Zionist component, and is Musk independent of the Zionist component, or are they two parts of a coalition behind Trump? So I don't think you can forget about that part of the Trump coalition.
Yeah, it's interesting because at once and the same time, yes, Trump is the Zionist faction, 100%. They're all behind him, 100%. I think Elon Musk has bought in with that faction as well, 100%. I mean, he's not stupid. He's not stupid again. I keep going back to that. He realizes who the other power brokers are in the world. I don't think that it's not a simple case as you become the richest man in the world. You put up a few satellites, you buy Twitter, and then like you run the world unopposed. No, there's alternative factions with great wealth, great power, great lobbies. You know, we don't even have to name
lobbies.
we've got the greatest lobbies, everybody. So there's these other and it's, at some level you have to do deals. So to some,
but I do think the momentum, there is sort of a momentum towards Musk gaining more pieces. You know, his companies, for instance, like since the election, the stock's doubled. And I think that's a reflection of the anticipation that, like, you know, you're going to reap the benefits of, like, having the levers of power. You know, like, if he's somehow able to... Because I think Musk, like, is, as an individual, so persuasive and has so much credibility that, like, the elite cultural resistance to things like shredding the head count at the bureaucracy, which like seemed impossible. Like, how do you overcome like the lawfare, like the sheer inertia, the impact to the amount of people you would make unemployed? You know, I think he can do it, but I guess it's like, and here's, you know, just coming back to the Israel question is. You know, I guess the thing I'm most worried about is a World War III scenario where my son like has to go participate in that. You know what I mean? That's like where the rubber hits the road of like I'm not into this stuff, you know? And maybe that's just like being a pussy about foreign policy. But
well, I mean,
war now is like a fucking meat grinder. It doesn't there's no valor in it. You know what I mean? It's like you can just be taken out by a drone. I mean, whoa. You know what? Like, what do you do against that?
Don't you think that? I mean, when October 7th kicked off, I was a little concerned about escalation of that and everything, and the threat of World War III. But don't you think a lot of that's died down now? Israel has basically kick the shit out of all of its enemies, and it's now just like in a decent place there in the Middle East. I mean, what is the big threat from the Middle East right now? Well, I mean, what is the scenario that we could end up in World War III?
Well, Syria just fell. So there's like instability in Syria.
In a week.
Right. And but you also have Yemen is still controlled, like not allowing like any Western traffic.
But that's not a World War III scenario, is it? I think Trump put this carpet bomb there.
I think that creates a lot of... I mean, the UK in particular. Okay, I mean, that's their canal. Why they built that is because it definitely benefits them. Trade with America is not really affected. Like, if we want to trade with India or China, we're going west, across the Pacific. Okay? But there are interests that want to like take that, and you know, I think the issues between Iran and Israel are not resolved. Like the Ukraine war is not resolved. The Chinese situation is not resolved. I mean, I'd like to think everything will quiet back down and Trump won't be aggressive, but I don't know.
Yeah, just to let you know, you keep fading out a little. I'm not sure what's going on with your mic. It's good when you're close to it, and then it seems to fade away a bit.
I'm sorry, man. Here, I upped the gain. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
So, look, I think I'm less concerned about World War III coming out of the Middle East now. I also think Russia's a paper tiger. My prediction is America's going to go into a golden age in the next year, 2 years. I really think like AI is revolutionizing everything, and probably I don't think Iran is a threat anymore. I mean, I'm not a fucking geopolitics expert, so what do I know? But
Yeah.
I feel a lot less worried about it for some reason. I really do.
I mean, there's no question that, I guess, I don't know, man. I think that I think that China and Russia like might actually have like some better weapons than we do now. Like when it comes to the missiles and how dependent we are on aircraft carriers for the empire. Like, I mean, I've been doing this audiobook called American Caesar, and it's about Douglas MacArthur. And he is it was actually recommended. Musk like posted something about like all these books he was reading, and that was like the first one, so I started there. And it talks about like the lead up to World War II, and you know, this shit was going on for a decade, and everybody knew it was coming. And the pieces and the choking each other out like went on for a decade. Like, this stuff doesn't happen in 6 months. And the things that have gone on over the last decade, or you know, just point to it more, you know, at some point this is going to break off. Like, somebody's going to try to choke somebody out, and they'll lash out, you know, because they're cornered. And will the American empire like manage to last?
It's a good question. What I'd say is, I don't know how much of my content you've watched like lately. Probably not a lot. I know you're busy, but I have become much more distrustful of like these anti-American narratives. This doesn't make me a neocon like Claire says.
Yeah.
But what I'm aware is, I became aware of like the dissident right definitely, and like anti-American sentiment definitely, even if you agree with it, is definitely helped. It is definitely like sourced from like this alternate axis, basically funded by the Kremlin and
Yeah. No, I know. Like EMJ is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and this is interesting because, like, you know, it is sort of let's just say anti-Semitic discourse is sort of anti-American elite, right? So it's like there is like this undermining of the American empire by doing that, and that's why like Iran will fund EMJ or something.
Absolutely.
But
like this idea that America will collapse. This idea that America's going to collapse, balkanize. I mean, it just sounds retarded to me that America will balkanize. It's not going to happen. This is like Moscow's pipe dream that they want you to believe that like America's going to fall apart and start, I don't know, dividing itself up into little chunks of pieces. I mean, is that really going to happen, or is that Dugin's pipe dream that he wants you to believe in, basically?
You know,
America's so resilient. They have the biggest economy on earth. They are the global superpower. They can kick the shit out of anybody. And when the tough gets going, they could just cancel their debt, and they could even retreat back to the North American continent, and you're isolated. I mean, what couldn't be in a better position.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because I feel like what you're describing is like something I've, you know, over the last decade, I feel that I've come to realize how I can't trust anything at all. And that, like, you know, Donald Trump, I had so much hope in him, and then this election, like, everybody's talking about the deportation as this Homan character. None of it's going to happen, man. You know, like, literally everything is fake and gay. It just is. And I used to wonder, like, I used to think, like, oh, I wonder why my dad, like, never took, like, stronger. My dad didn't take a lot of strong positions on things, like maybe the way a younger man does, like in his idealism. And I've sort of, as I coming up on 40, like really started to realize like how little I don't know. You know what I mean? Like you just don't know. Like to say we said something, you know, Musk is this, Musk is that. Like you have no idea like what is and what isn't real, and like what's just a character. You know, like the Mossad guy said, and like what's that crap? Like why is that on TV? You know, is he Mossad? Like what is this? You know what I mean? Like, and how could you know?
I feel like this itself is a scam. This all reminds me of like, you know, when Yuri Bezmenov came to America and he talked about, he explained to everybody that the KGB really wasn't doing like James Bond style spying. What they were involved in, like 85% of their funding went into active measures. And what that was designed to basically just like screw up your countries, make you unable to trust anything that you see. He said it's like you can have bananas in your ears, and you know, and people will be telling you the truth, and you just won't realize it. So that you don't know what to trust anymore. You don't know who to believe anymore. But even though you have an abundance of information, you can't work out what's the truth.
Right, and in some way, I feel demoralized. Like,
yeah, well, that is part of the active measure.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like
whoever it's coming from.
Right, whoever it's coming from, it's like they've kind of like taking me out of it because I realize like I've been played before. You know what I mean? And it's like
so they've
trust.
Succeeded because you know, not just saying this because I know you, but you could have been like a really good like guy on the political scene, and you were like, I'm done with this movement. So like they succeeded. They took out a potential, you know, player.
I think so. I mean, yes, I do feel like I think sometimes, man, I'm like, oh, I could stream about something, but I'm like, I don't know what I believe. It's like I don't know what we ought to do. You know what I mean? Like like I don't know who the bad guys are. I mean, I know there are bad guys. I basically concluded that they're all bad guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and if all of my choices are a bad guy, and I'm too busy raising kids, then fuck. Like all I can do is like make sure my own shit's in order.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And in a way, that's where they want you. Now, I'm not saying that's not good for you. It probably is good for you. You know, it's probably the right choice for you. But for like the people who run the world like a chessboard, who are like moving pawns around on a board, you know, it's useful for them to knock out potential key players. And I'm not saying somebody targeted you from a dark room.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's just sort of.
But like the system is designed to knock out people like you.
Yeah. No, well, but it also, the system sort of like any system needs most guys to like play a role that's not like going for the throne. You know what I mean? Like we don't all need to be like worried about who's on the throne, you know? And but I don't know. You know, it's just like, I wonder what putting the woke away is going to look like. Because I think that's probably the most predictable. That is like the surest thing that's like coming forward, which is AA is vindicated. And
you think it? Yeah.
You don't think so?
I don't know.
On this piece.
To a certain extent, it has. I think it's like a rubber band that's been overstretched. So to a certain extent, I mean, like the transing of kids is so egregious. It's so obviously wrong. Obviously, I mean, so something like that, as egregious as that, surely has to naturally go away. Whether they're doing it as a political decision, I don't know.
Well, there is an element of... See, yeah, well, you're right in that I think that there's going to be a recalibration. Like, But I think some elements... It's just... It's like making... it's like the part I hate... It's like making sure that... Don't worry, guys. Like... Hating on Whitey is okay, but like, just remember who are your fellow victims and stuff. And I felt like the thing was like, I mean, after October 7th, like this past year, remember seeing Robert Kraft, who's the owner of the New England Patriots. You know, they get on TV and they talk about hate, and he's like, we need to make sure we stop all the hate against like racial minorities and sexual minorities and women and Jews. And it's like, and you still can't say white people. You know what I mean? It's like, so I think they try. I mean, I don't know where it'll stop or not, but like, you know, when they pass these laws, you know, like the Governor DeSantis, he passed a law in Florida that said that, you know, it was like supposed to remove any kind of discrimination, right? Like it meant sort of people think it's like expanding it to make sure white people are protected, but the fact of the matter is like it's just an even harder, like a more hardcore civil rights act. You know, it's like it's still not going to change the way like people apply it in society. Like it's always been illegal to be discriminate against whites, but it's never enforced. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's funny when these anti-woke people or supposedly anti-woke people come along and attempt to roll it back, because in a weird way we got here through removing discrimination. And so when they talk about it we want to remove discrimination, you're like, well, this is how we got here. This is how we're like not discriminating against people transing their kids.
No, so I think it's transing our kids, but the woke is really, I mean, dude, I don't know. I mean, the retreat of like Christian values is, I mean, that's like that front of it, but that's like a losing effort in my opinion, or it has been, sadly. I mean, that's the part I really care about. But on the other side, it's like, it's the realization that the POC see Jews as white too. You know what I mean? And Claudine Gay was only dragged in front of Congress because she failed to protect Jews like being protested against when white people are protested against all the time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so like the woke POC, it's not about the trannies, it's about like the third worldists that support Palestine that are being shoved to the side. So, I mean, I know that in England it's interesting because the tranny thing, your culture has been more resistant to it. They've like actually passed laws like way before we did, like stopping it against kids. So it's interesting you see it that way because like in America, I think it's way more about the racial. It's like okay to be racist now. You know what I mean? In a way that it wasn't.
Yeah. Would you accept that deal? Would you accept the deal that we're teaming up with Jews because Jews now see that they're like identified as white, and Jews have realized that Palestinian sympathizers identify them as white, that they are colonialists. I mean, have you seen all this? Like, all the pro-Palestinian people are like, you whitey are colonialists, and you have to pay.
No, I know.
And so, in a way, it's real. It's 100% real. They do see us all as the same. Yeah. But what a bed to get into. And could we even...
Right.
Can we trust it?
Well, and this is the thing. It's like, you know, the thing I see is like, there's this... I don't want to say mask off phase, but there's in some sense like... There's a Jewish muscularism in the culture. Like they've got the Republican Party ready to like shut it down. Okay. And, you know, it's free speech for anything other than criticizing Israel with the Republicans. Okay. Yeah. And I think that aggression, that like preemptive action is going to is going to lead to a backlash. Like, I feel like there's this sort of future like 2040 or 2035 like AOC communist Zionist coalition, okay, where people get like so disgusted with like what we're about to do in the Middle East for Israel, that the backlash, the brown lash is going to be not good, and we're going to be in bed with that. Maybe. That's just a thought about ways this could go.
Yeah, but also it's not the most intelligent community as well. They've shown that they can be manipulated very well by like Jews in the past, haven't they?
Yeah, but look at South Africa. Like, do you want to live there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, obviously.
So it's like...
I put this to Luke, to like round back to where we started. I put this to Luke. I said, look, I'm afraid. Because he said to me, look, would you be opposed? I can't believe he posed me this question. He said, would you be opposed, SJJ, to your country being filled with black people who are conservative and hold all your values? And I was like, oh my God, this question. I was like, actually, yes, I would. Yes, I would, because I saw Black Lives Matter. I saw people turn on a light switch here. And it wasn't even because of something that happened in this country. And all of a sudden, they were like wearing their skin color as a uniform.
Oh yeah, I had the exact same big red pill.
And they were like, you are responsible for, hundreds of years of white supremacy, whitey. And I was like, holy fuck, what has just happened? And I projected out in my mind, like 30 years time, if this continues and that we are a minority in our country, what is like my children? Are they going to come for my children as a majority for the historical crimes of white supremacy? And I'm like, holy fuck.
No, I agree. I remember I had a friend who he was like a Ben Carson type. And then BLM happened. He's got the hat, and he wants to like argue about race. Suddenly, it was like, oh wow, like if we get divided on racial lines, like it don't matter. Suddenly,
yeah,
the marketplace of ideas doesn't exist. So I hear you, but so I don't know, man. I mean, here's the thing: like, it would feel really bad to me to like trade a pseudo racial, like. Okay, like you got to deport all the foreigners, but you're not allowed to have like Christmas anymore. We're doing like like literal like Judea. We're gonna all convert to Judeo-Christian, like secular Judeo-Christianity. Like, do you want to be a Judeo-Christian? Because I feel like there's something like that. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like this, quote, Western secular Judeo-Christianity.
I am with you. As somebody who's had my own crisis of faith and struggles to believe in anything, so I'm basically a cringe atheist. I am with you, though, that I think America... Look, America, its conservative values are only left within Christians. What other demographic is it? None. I look at Americans like in this, I don't know if it's across the whole country, but I watch like this channel. There's this family who live in Texas, and yes, they go to this like megalopolis church or whatever, and it's like singing praise Jesus or whatever. But I think at least you have like values, and you want to bring up your children in like the old conservative tradition, and in it that want is gone from any other demographic. And so if you want to be conservative in America, it's only residing with the Christians.
No, I know. And they're Republicans of other races, but it's because they're like successful small business owners. You know what I mean? Like it's like the Indian guy with a couple of gas stations, and he's like, man, I don't want to pay taxes. But it's not like there's not a... The fact is like the industriousness of our societies and the cohesion and the fact that like everybody shows up to work on time is because of the social issues, not the economic issues. The tax rates don't affect what time people show up to work. They're like cultural / genetic programming, religious values do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think like there's a devil's bargain. This is why I didn't vote, man. I didn't vote for Trump. I mean,
Wow.
after how he played January 6th, and
Oh, you couldn't ever forgive him.
I can't ever forgive him. Well, it like proved to me he was full of shit. Because what you just told us justifies going down there. Why aren't you down there? Why are you just walking away the moment everybody got in trouble for your ass? What are you doing? And now you're back and now you're going to build the wall again? Fuck, dude. I mean, listen, if he comes in here and like the first quarter of 2025 is spent like rounding people up,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. You know, but I doubt it. I'm jaded.
Yeah, that's a tough place to be. By the way, thank you for the super chat, Rabbi
Yeah.
Judas. Your biggest fan in chat. Literally.
Literal super fan. Dude, he bought the hat, man. He's got the I Heart Jews hat.
Yes, he has. Yeah. Oh my God. He wears it with pride as well. What a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, we're getting close to an hour.
Yeah.
So, I just before we. So yeah, I mean, like the next year we're going to see what the heck is going on with Trump and Musk. It's all going to play out. So, I mean, let's just, I don't know, enjoy the ride as much as that's possible.
Let's
But
hope for the best. I hope for the best.
yeah, what was it? I just want to. I'd remembered what it was that I'd said to Luke, and it was that, look, Jews have this amazing position in society. In America, they're like at the top of the totem pole. They're basically worshipped by, whites in America. And why would they throw all this away, rather than just team up with white people to like save the demographics? I mean, I just explain it to me, Luke, like I'm a child or something. And
I think it's gonna happen, man. I say, listen. I guess maybe. I just said they won't do deportations. I don't know. We'll see. Like, I guess if they are going to team up and do that, maybe they're for real. But it...
When he says deportations, what if he just means all the pro-Palestinians?
Yeah, that's actually was like... It's funny you say that because I was thinking about that too, was that... Yeah, it's like, look at all the Muslims we're getting rid of. And I mean, listen, that's fine too because honestly, it's like... Hispanics are at least Christians. You know what I mean? They're Catholics and they're kind of like Latin American Catholics, but they are not the same thing as Muslims. Muslims are super foreign imperialists. I mean, the Crusades, man. I don't know how anybody forgets the Crusades. It's like, why would we turn on our ancestors like that? Everything that,
Yeah, Colin Liddell says, with losers you discuss Jews. No, I was discussing Jews with Luke because he's Jewish. I mean, come on. There is a reaction. There is a contrarian instinct to like go all the other way and like defend. Hey, look, this is what I want to say to you right at the end. What do you think? Do you think that the dissident right has any use left in it? Because, I mean, what I was putting to Luke was that if there was any use in the old alt-right, in the dissident right, it was that it allowed us to actually, use his phrase, cut through that bullshit and actually just like decide what the problems are. And now to come like 180 like he is today, dancing around on the fence, tiptoeing around all the issues, is basically fucking useless. What is the use in that analysis if it means that
Are you considering Luke dissident right? Is that what you mean? He's not. No, he's not. But I'm saying, if you're saying the dancing around is indicative of what the dissident right is, I think it's like, for instance, like I know you don't love. I mean, there's an element of academic agents' coverage of the UK that I think that I completely defer to you as to like what's real and what's not and what's bullshit. Okay,
Yeah,
so I don't know, but. I think that like sometimes when he talks in code, he can talk in code to the initiated. Like, I don't know. The dissident right to me feels like it's not there's no entry point anymore. It's like you had to be there a while ago, you know?
Yeah, you did.
You did have to be there a while ago, and like that's okay because like we're all sort of like hitting middle age and like gaining power in our lives, and I think that's why I think you start to see like these ideas take place. And these conversations like do still need to take place. I guess the question is like, where is the forefront of right-wing culture? And dude, you know what it is, man? Like I was, you know the term Sigma, by Box Day's term. Okay.
Yep.
I consider that to be like right-wing bro culture. Like that's bro internet culture. And I listen to these kids. My son's about to go to middle school, and I see the middle schoolers and the high schoolers talk in their new slang. Everything is Sigma. Sigma is good, and they're like, bro, they're in our Twitter. They read the same Twitter, and so like I don't know who their guys are. I mean, maybe Nick Fuentes is like this. It's the Groypers, man. I mean, that's where the energy is. And if he's part of the dissident right, then I guess it does have value. But I mean, he's somewhat different. I don't know. I think. Listen, I'm not gonna like sit up here and be like, oh, I love Nick Fuentes, and let's just we're neutral observers on this show. But I felt for a long time that the dude has charisma and influence, and there are young guys that are exposed to like him and people adjacent to him, and but the millennials, the 40-year-olds are talking to themselves. So
yeah,
I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, 100%. Look, I'd just like to say to Kemidov, thank you for the 2 super chats. Kemidov says there's more than a few Jews are not even Zionist, and plenty of Jews are not complicit in what's been. Absolutely, 100%.
100%. 100%. No, I totally agree. I don't think it's like, I think there's just pools of money. There's people like the Adelsons and Ackman and things like that have, like Elon Musk, the ability to like move pieces. They're not the only faction.
Yeah, like we said earlier, we have the greatest lobby. So, look, to talk, Nick Fuentes, he's definitely a cultural phenomenon, without a doubt. And young people have been rallied to, supporting him because there are very few other options that's cool in politics. He somehow made, like, politics cool for young Zoomers. Even in 2016, Richard Spencer's alt-right was aiming at, like, older millennials, really. There wasn't anything for young kids, and something for young, I call them kids, but whatever, for young guys, basically young gamers, has to be of a different ilk, and it's not going to be about statistics and numbers and boring conversations. It's going to be based in memes, and it is going to be something that differentiates basically on a black and white level. The problem that I have with Nick Fuentes is like that the whole Kanye shit and the debacle and what it's turned into, and that performance on Alex Jones, and that
was one of the best things that happened the last 10 years. Come on, man. That was like literally. But here's the thing, like that was not like unimportant. That was like it was a big. I mean, that was a big deal.
But
in,
what
like, opening the conversation?
What did it achieve in the end?
I think it's just part of a mainstreaming of a conversation that we like started the show with, which is, you know what I mean? Like it came right when Elon Musk. It happened right when Elon Musk got Twitter. He decided to ban Kanye, but like he let Nick stay, and he ever since it's been I feel like Kanye got sacrificed and everybody got to keep talking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe
something like that. And anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I won't keep you any longer. You said you'd give me an hour, and you did. So I appreciate it, bro.
Dude, thanks for having me, man. It's so great. I'm sorry we don't get to do this more often.
Yeah.
So I hope you have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and enjoy watching Do the Later today.
Yeah, you don't want to sing.
Hail the Duve.
You don't want to sing a song, do you? Before you go.
Yeah, let's sing a prayer on my way out. Anyway. All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and Merry Christmas.